Stephan would never hurt Madeline. Okay, maybe he did hurt her, but he didn't kill her. The first time I heard Jen Soto say that about Stephan Sterns, everything clicked. All of her curious, inexplicable decisions now make sense. Why she didn't report Maddie missing. Why she didn't question Stephan's version of events. Why she didn't watch the CCTV footage. Is Jennifer Soto a murderous mother, an innocent bystander, or something else? Let's listen to an interview she gave days before her daughter Madeline Soto was found murdered. Thank you to Plunder True Crime for uploading this audio. Her link in description.
He stays, does he sleep on a couch, separate bedroom? What's like the sleeping arrangements like?
It depends. For the most part, he would sleep upstairs in the guest room, sleep in my bedroom downstairs.
Okay.
Sometimes he would come sleep in the bed, all three of us together.
Okay.
And rarely ever would I send them upstairs to go sleep alone, away from me, because I need a good night's sleep. Because if we sleep all the three of us together,
oh, I can only imagine.
It's a king bed, but it's like she's
not a small baby anymore.
No, she's not. So it's just three humans on a bed is really uncomfortable, really tight.
About how often was they would go? You would send them off on their own.
I would say. Honestly, somewhere between, I'm going to say less than 5 times has this ever happened, right?
That's
it
fine.
hasn't been that.
And this is over the...
Phrases like I want to say and I would say are called performatives. They often signal that what comes next isn't necessarily true. Sophisticated liars use performatives to mislead without technically lying, like when politicians start a response with, I want to be clear, or as I've already said. Sure, they're being truthful about their intention to clarify or repeat something, but that doesn't mean the statement itself is true. Less experienced liars also use performatives, but they do so instinctively to soften the stress of telling a lie. And that's what I think is happening here with Jen. She likely sent Madeline and Stephan to bed together more times than she cares to admit, even to herself. Since you've read the title of this video, you know I'm going to expand on that idea soon. For now, pay attention to her reaction when the detectives show her disturbing photos of Stephan and Madeline. As a side note, we only have audio of this interview, so the video you're seeing on screen is from a separate interview. It doesn't affect our analysis because we don't care about the body language one way or the other. Also, whenever the audio cuts out, that's a redaction.
I'm going to say less than 5 times has this ever happened, right?
That's
it
fine.
Hasn't been that.
And this is over the course of him visiting back and forth, correct?
You mean the sleeping arrangements alone?
Yeah.
No, that was including him living with us.
Oh, okay.
Hardly ever would I send them upstairs because I had that rule that she couldn't sleep alone with him. That's just me. I'm just
right.
Really...
And then you said, so you're pretty familiar with him?
Yeah.
Okay. Whose hand does that look like to you?
I would say it's Stephan's.
Is that Stephan's hand?
Yeah, I would think so.
Okay. So, you and Stephan, have you guys been sexually intimate before in the past?
Yes.
So you're aware of what like his penis looks like and things like that, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Does this look like Stephan's penis to you?
No.
No? Okay. What about that? So you're thinking that's his penis?
Might be.
Okay.
If anything, it's not even the penis I'm recognizing, it's the things around it.
So it's the things around it that make you believe it's his penis?
Yeah.
Okay. So we have these images, and unfortunately, over the last maybe 2 or 3 years, he's been doing oral sex, vaginal sex, and things like that.
What makes you guys...
We have photos.
Okay.
We have his phone. We were able to get into his phone. And there are some very, very unfortunate graphic pictures of him conducting various sexual acts with. I wish I could tell you this was all a made up story, but it's not.
If you allow your daughter to get abused by your boyfriend and then murdered by your boyfriend, you need to do a lot of mental gymnastics to degrade your daughter in your own mind to allow that to happen. That was a clip from my first video analyzing Jen Soto 6 months ago, the importance of leakage. Here's another clip from the same video. When the parent of a missing child goes onto TV and it feels like you're pulling teeth trying to get information from them, you need to ask yourself, why are they being so reticent? It doesn't always mean they're guilty. They might be being reticent because they're negligent and they don't want to admit that they were, passed out drunk or that they let a child abuser live with them. So they're being reticent because they know more than they want to say and they're ashamed of their contribution to the kidnapping, even if they didn't help plan it. After hearing Jen's muted reaction to the photo evidence of Stephan abusing Madeline, I think I was on the right track in that first video, but I was barking up the wrong tree. Listen to this next part and you'll see what I mean.
Did you ever suspect anything like this? No? You okay?
Shock right now.
Okay. Can I get you anything?
Maybe some water.
Some water? You just have it if you want to. Yeah.
How are you feeling right now?
I can't breathe.
Is this a surprise?
Is there photos of her?
Mm-hmm. Yes. So you know how we have his phone? Obviously, that's how we were able to find the photos in there.
I don't want to believe that this is true. Can I see some of that evidence?
What makes you believe that it's not?
I thought I knew him well enough.
You said you thought you knew him well enough?
So, our goal, we want to find her. Can you think of anything of where Stephan would take her? Did they have any special hangout spots? Did they have any places that they would do together while you were at work or you had other things going on in your life?
The only place they would go is hang out at home. There's no place I can think of that they've gone outside. I mean, we've gone shopping to like Target before.
Okay. But anywhere else that you can think of? What are you thinking about right now?
How this can be true? How I missed the signs?
What signs are you saying you missed?
No, like I'm just saying, if there were any signs, I didn't see any.
Right.
6 months ago, I would have said that Jen is lying to the police to protect Stephan. After seeing this interview, I think it's a little bit more nuanced than that. I think she's lying to herself to protect Stephan and her own self-esteem. Here's what I mean. Maybe one day, Stephan asks Jen if he can sleep in Maddie's bedroom. Jen knows it's an odd request, but she justifies it. It might help them bond. Maddie's scared of the dark, so maybe she'll sleep better with Stephan there. I'll have the whole downstairs bedroom to myself. The next time Stephan asks, Jen says yes, because she's already rationalized it once And declining now would mean admitting that she was wrong that first time. Soon she's agreeing to even more dubious requests and convincing herself that nothing harmful is happening. Eventually, she's gone so far down that path that her brain refuses to accept any evidence to the contrary, even photographs. And even when the photographs are undeniable, she convinces herself that it's not that bad. I'm not saying this is exactly what happened, but it is how self deception, specifically denial, works. Each decision reinforces the last until admitting fault and seeing the evidence right before your eyes is nearly impossible. To be clear, even if I'm right about Jen's self deception, denial, cognitive dissonance, it doesn't make her innocent or insane. People lie to themselves all the time. Indeed, being willfully ignorant or rationalizing danger to your child is the definition of neglect. I only point it out because it helps explain Jen's strange behavior during the investigation, including reacting to these horrifying photos with disbelief rather than horror or outrage, and why she continues defending Stephan even after seeing them, which is coming up next.
Did Stephan ever take her back down to Newport Richie?
Newport, Florida.
Newport, Florida. I'm sorry.
Alone, no.
Alone? You guys would go together?
Yeah. Or I would drive down. Just hang out.
Okay. So when Stephan would not stay at the house with you guys, where else would he stay?
In his apartment in his house in Northport, Florida. That's it.
But when he would visit here, he would always stay in your house? He would never go get a hotel or stay at a friend's house or anything like that?
No, he stayed at our place.
Okay. Why did he go to Newport, Florida this morning?
This morning?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, okay. I'm just curious. I heard a rumor that he possibly went down there.
No.
I don't know. Them is maybe lost in translation.
No, he didn't. We were in the hotel. If anything, he stepped out to go get some Wawa.
Okay.
And then came back.
About how long was he gone for?
Um,
Does he have a new phone since we have his, or?
I think his dad may have handed him a new phone.
Okay, do you know the phone number to that new phone?
No.
Okay. What's his dad do?
Works in real estate. I think he's a broker.
So look, we just need any information. Any.
No, I know, but there's nothing I can give you. There's nothing I can.
Did you communicate with Stephan on the new phone with your phone? No.
I just want to. I believe you. I want to believe you, but I won't believe you until I see actual.
Are you sure you want to see that? I'll go get it. Are you sure you want to see that? Take my word of advice. I wouldn't, blow smoke up your butt and tell you, that's a fake picture. I wouldn't do that to you. I wouldn't. I'm going to be dead honest with you. I'll be more than happy to show you those images, but I don't know if I would want to see those. But if you want to see them, that's your own prerogative.
Can you tell me what's being done in the photos?
She has a penis in her mouth. And that picture that you said that the stuff identified that Stephan's penis around her, I zoomed in on that photo because in that picture, it's in her mouth. Do you need any more water? Are you okay?
I really thought I was coming here for the press conference, but this is not what we're here for.
I know, and it's unfortunate that these are the details that we found, but I think it's very important now that we kind of sit back, evaluate everything, and kind of think every step of the way where Stephan has done in the past, where he be right now, because at the end of the day, we want to go get her.
Yeah, of course. Oh my God. If I knew anything, I would tell you. I just have no fucking idea where it could be.
Besides using lots of performatives, Jen tends to use convincing words like honestly, and she tends to over explain, which are all things that liars do instinctively because they're worried about being believed. Like I said in my earlier videos analyzing Jen, it's possible she's doing all this because she's actively helping Stephan get away with a crime. In other words, she's a clear eyed accomplice who knows exactly what he did to her daughter and is deliberately trying to help him get away with it. Indeed, if I'm betting, I'm still betting that that's the case, and lots of my fellow YouTubers who have analyzed this case seem to share that same opinion, like Grizzly True Crime, Plunder, The Docket, Guilty of Crime. However, and this is difficult to say, it's also possible that Jen's signs of deception stem from her knowledge deep down that his story to her isn't true. In other words, she might not have any direct knowledge of what was going on or the murder because she willfully ignored it, and she instead decided to simply take what he says as truth. And when she relays it, it sounds like a lie because even she doesn't fully believe it. Her reaction to the photos was immediate disbelief in challenging the evidence rather than being outraged at Stephan, suggests she knew deep down what was actually happening and doesn't want to face it. All that said, if I'm betting, I'm still betting that she has some firsthand knowledge of what was going on to her daughter and what happened to her daughter. And one of the best indicators of that is coming up next. Listen to Jen's leakage. In other words, listen to her word choice that might suggest she knows more than she's letting on.
Was there any... The video footage that was caught at the church? What exactly was seen? I've heard from other people, but I just...
Do you know much?
It looked like someone age that walked by, but it's inconclusive. Right, it was too grainy. The video was not. You couldn't determine who it was in the video, pretty much. So we don't know that she walked by that church. So the last person, Stephan.
Yeah. So we want to know because he's the last person to see her. He claims to have dropped her off at this church before school. Unfortunately,
close to the church.
Close to the church. You know, unfortunately, we know she doesn't go to school that day. You try and go pick her up. Would it, after Stephan dropped her off, did he come back home? About how long was he gone for during drop-off?
I want to say from 8:30 to like 10:15 because around 10:15 or 10:20 is when I got a phone call stating that he got home. He had gone to the vape shop, but I don't know if they weren't open or not yet. So he left.
Okay.
And then hung out around the house and waited till I got back for my doctor's appointment.
So he came back home.
Yeah, he did come back home.
Okay.
He grabbed his phone and called me from the house at that point. He had let me know that he accidentally left his phone. He was waiting for the vape store to open, but they never opened, or something like that. And then he went back home just to give it time, and then he went back out later.
Okay. So from 8:30 to 10:15, that's when he's saying the vape shop was closed and he came back home?
I think so. Something. I mean, I know he was killing time. He does this. He'll just like to aimlessly drive around to kill time. I believe him when he says that he was killing time. Or at least I did believe him.
What's like usually, how long does it take to go do her drop off and come back?
Like 45 minutes.
Okay. So
45, 50 minutes.
So give or take an hour.
Yeah.
So he should have been back home by like 9:30ish.
Yeah.
Okay. But then there's like 45 minutes to 30 minutes of a gap in time there.
Yeah.
Where could he have gone?
He says he was driving around aimlessly, just killing time.
Okay.
One of the core concepts of statement analysis is that we always speak based on everything we know. Because of that, liars can sometimes unintentionally reveal the truth through their choice of words. In this brief clip, Jen said that Stephan was killing time 4 times, and she was describing the exact window of time when he was either strangling Madeline to death or disposing her body. Now, it's possible she was just repeating what Stephan told her, in which case the leakage is his, not hers. Or it could simply just be a coincidence of word choice. However, this is not the first time that Jen's word choices have hinted that she knew or at least suspected that Madeline had been murdered. Here's a clip from one of my first videos in this series, where I analyzed something Jen said days before Madeline's body was found and months before strangulation was confirmed as the cause of death. Why talk about not breathing? I'm sure that when the autopsy report is revealed, that they killed Madeline either by strangling her or suffocating her or covering her mouth and her nose to pass her out and then doing something else to her. In other words, when she thinks about Madeline, she thinks about breathing, probably because she's recalling something about restricting Madeline's airway.
He says he was driving around aimlessly, just killing time.
Okay. So then he comes home, let's just say around 10:15 is what you're saying. What time did you get home from your doctor's appointment?
I'm gonna say somewhere between 11 and 11:20.
And then did he leave again?
Yes.
How do you know he was home? Because you got the call.
Because I got the call and I think I saw him when I got home.
Okay. And then what time did he leave again to go to the vape shop?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure what time he left.
And then
Oh, actually, hold on, let me think.
do you guys have a ring at your house? A ring doorbell? Do you have any video doorbell system? Do you have any cameras in the house?
No. I'm gonna say he left around somewhere between 12:30 and 1 o'clock, because I remember looking at the time going, I don't think he's going to be done in time running his errands to be back by 2:30 when I need to leave to go.
Okay.
And he said he ran his errands. He stopped at a few comic shops or game stores or something like that. Then he got a flat tire somewhere on 182. He doesn't remember exactly where. I remember him telling me he hurt himself changing the spare tire.
How did he hurt himself?
Something slipped while he was doing something with what's the crank that pops up that brings
The lift or
yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking
The
about.
jack.
Something slipped and his finger got caught between the frame and the jack, I think. So
Okay.
he had to pull out his finger. So I know he's got a Band-Aid on his finger right now because of that.
So what time do you leave the house to go?
2:30.
2:30?
Yeah, she gets out at 4. It takes me about 20 minutes to get to school, and then I wait about an hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah, for the car line and everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like to be the first in line.
So at what point did you think, something's up?
Around 4:10 when she did not come out of school, and I was the first in line. I was holding up the line. I'm the first in line, there's cars behind me, and they already have their kids.
Right.
So when I noticed she had not come out, I drove away thinking, maybe I missed her. Maybe I forgot to tell her that I was picking her up from school today because I have a new work schedule.
Mm-hmm.
So
What do you do for work again? I'm sorry.
I work at Walt Disney World, front desk concierge at Coronado Springs.
Okay.
I just recently, that's the biggest reason I even called Stephan, was to come help me this week with her getting her to school, helping with the dog. That's the whole reason I even called him, was to come help me.
And what car did he come up in from down there in?
In his dad's Cadillac.
Okay. All right. So you kind of get some concerns when she's not coming out.
She's not coming out, so I drove off. It was along the same path she would have walked. I didn't see her. Did you hear yet? She goes, no. And I said, oh, maybe I missed her. Maybe
Does she
still...
sometimes walk home from school?
Yeah, she does.
To, and then you pick her up from there?
Yeah.
Okay.
She didn't make it.
Similar to Jen saying that Stephan was killing time around the time that he was either actually killing Madeline or disposing her body, many in the DD forum, as well as the comments on my videos, have also noted that Jen's constant repetition of the phrase, "she didn't make it," when talking about Madeline could, of course, be another example of leakage. The thing with leakage, of course, is that we can't overinterpret it. There's a ton of caveats whenever it comes to it, because when it comes to statement analysis, it's just about the most subjective rule there is. So the phrase needs to be unusual and it needs to be used repeatedly. Whether or not she didn't make it qualifies is up for debate. That's the hard thing about Jen's leakage. The biggest bombshell of this interview is coming up next. It's the thing that Jen said, which made me rethink her deception entirely. See if you can spot it when it happens.
I think at this point I had called her best friend to ask, because I went to pick her up from school and I didn't see her.
Right.
And she said, no, she never made it to first or second period.
Okay.
And I was like, can you please check with your other friends to see if she made it to her other periods?
Mm-hmm.
I think at this point I emailed her teacher.
Right. Snapchat?
I don't believe so, no.
Okay. She just has the Instagram?
Yeah.
Okay. So, office, you realize she's not there either. Is this when you go home?
No, I go back to the school to go. So I drive the path again to see if I missed her, and then I go back to the school to check their attendance because her friends are telling me she never made it. But when I got to the school was already closed.
Mm-hmm.
So I drove back. I think at this point I had gotten a response from one of her teachers telling me she never made it to my period, and then he checked the attendance for the rest of the day and she never made it to any of her periods.
Gotcha. Okay.
This is when I start to panic and freak out because I know something is wrong. Sorry, I just thought about that image.
It's okay. Take your time. What was Stephan's reaction when you?
I called him and I said, she never made it to school. He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, she got dropped off. I was like, you dropped her off? She never made it to school.
Mm-hmm.
I said, please come to the office right now. He goes, okay, I'm heading there right now. So he hauled ass came to the office. And
you're driving your car and he was driving his car?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he made it to the office and then we where she might be.
Mm-hmm.
We were both sitting there pretty upset, pretty distraught, just thinking of the worst case scenarios. Eventually, we found out that there were also 2 other missing children in the area, and that all the cops had gone to a park. So one of my family members went to the park to speak to an officer, to try to get an officer to come back to the office, and he did. And then he took a report.
Mm-hmm.
That was about 7:30, I think.
Monday night.
Yeah.
And what's Stephan's kind of demeanor been since then?
He's been absolutely a mess.
Do you think he would ever?
I don't think he would. No.
Okay. I understand.
Like, I believe you when you talk to me about those images.
Mm-hmm.
Those images might be real, or they've happened, but I don't believe they're related to this case. I don't think.
Stephan would never hurt Madeline. Okay, maybe he did hurt her, but he didn't kill her. The first time I heard Jen Soto say that about Stephan Sterns, everything clicked. Her irrational defense of him, the shifting goalposts, the refusal to accept the disturbing photo evidence. These are all hallmarks of denial, self-deception, and cognitive dissonance. When I rewatch all my earlier videos in this series, all of her curious, inexplicable decisions now make sense. Why she didn't report Maddie missing, why she didn't question Stephan's version of events, why she didn't watch the alleged CCTV footage of Madeline at the church near her school where she was allegedly kidnapped from. Whether Jen is a willing accomplice or a willingly oblivious bystander, Jen knew that following through on any of these actions would force her to confront the truth. Stephan manipulated her and murdered her daughter. Like a doomsday cultist who becomes even more fanatical after they give away their entire life savings, Jen is in so deep at this point that admitting the truth is unbearable. At least that is something I'm seeing in this interview. Like I've said since my very first video, my money is on a mix of both, deceiving the police to protect Stephan, but also deceiving herself to justify her role, even if it was just as a bystander in the abuse and murder. If you want me to continue analyzing this interview, let's get this video to 50,000 views by liking and sharing. If you want to see the other parts of this series, click the playlist on your screen now. Until next time, stay true.